Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video and another one of my 500-mile trips up north. There's still a lot of misinformation and a lot of ignorance about how to travel in a non-Tesla EV essentially. And I'm not going to get into the whole Tesla thing just because they have built-in navigation, they have built-in guidance, built-in trip planning. So for them, there's really no heuristic that's needed, right? People just get in and the car tells them how to travel. These videos are really focused on traveling in non-Tesla EVs, where there still seems to be a lot of misinformation on traveling long distances and a decent amount of intimidation with the process. So there are lessons to be learned with every one of these trips that I make. And in the case of this trip, it is pretty much a nightmare scenario for most people. Last night I went to the Hollywood Bowl and because I don't have charging at home, by the time I arrived at work today, I only had about 25% battery, but I can't activate the work chargers. I have to rely on security to do that. And I was parked for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before they activated the chargers. So I'm not going to have anywhere near a full charge. And in fact, by the time I'm leaving today after a half day, I might not even have 50% battery. So I'm basically heading out on a 500-mile trip with less than half of a battery. And so I'm hoping through this trip I'll be able to kind of explain what I did and why I did it and why I focused on the chargers I focused on. And we'll be able to see sort of the end result of, how long does it take to travel 500 miles when you start with maybe half of a battery. All right, so we're about to head out, and the first big decision that I need to make right now is where my first stop is going to be, because I'm at about 50% battery right now, but the Bakersfield charger is over 100 miles away from here, and I have to get over a 4,000-foot summit to get there. So that's going to be kind of a stretch, and some people might say, oh, well, I'll wait until my level 2 charge brings me up to a percentage that I feel comfortable leaving with. But if you want to actually go on a trip, you should really just go on a trip. But that might mean that you have to use a DC fast charger a little bit sooner than you would normally. But still, that's going to be much faster than sitting around waiting for a level 2 charger to bring you up to whatever percentage it is you want before you leave. So right now I have a couple of choices. I could stop in Simi Valley, which is only about 5 to 10 miles from here, or I could go up to like Valencia, Santa Clarita. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go, because to get the fastest DC charging rates, you want to be a little bit lower into your battery. Strap in, let's get ready to go. Well, we're getting ready to depart, and the thing is, we've already hit the initial step down to that 105 amp charging. Now, a lot of people would suggest, oh, you hit 50, 55%, you should just be leaving and going on to the next charger because it's so slow after that. But it's not really. I mean, it is slower relative to the peak charging rate that the Bolt EV has. However, after that step down, you can still draw additional power from these 50 kilowatt chargers to run air conditioning, battery conditioning, that sort of thing. And that's why for Bolt EV owners, I actually suggest charging up to 65 to 70% most of the time, not 80%, because that really is a lot slower. And in this case, I want our next stop to be Delano, California, which is about 110 miles out. And so I want a little bit extra charge so I can make that stop with reasonable assurance, because it sets me up for the rest of the trip. And it might not seem like a lot, but that extra 10 to 15 to 20% that you charge up every time, after several charging stops, it eliminates a stop. So even if it takes you an extra 5 minutes to do so relative to only charging to 50%, it actually saves you time, considering just an average stop for a charger is going to be 10 to 15 minutes, not even charging, just getting to the charger and then getting back on the road again. I think we pretty much overstayed it here. We're almost about to step down, and I grabbed a lunch, and I was just running the air conditioning. It's already up over 90 degrees, but like I said, we don't need to stay all the way to the step down at this point. We're close enough, but I just find that these 30 to 40-minute stops, maybe as much as 45, depending on what you're doing, they just make for a more relaxing trip anyway, in addition to allowing you to go farther between stops. So I'm going to go ahead and end the charge now and get ready to head out. I'm here at the Electrify America chargers in Madera, California. They just opened. Only 3 of the units are up right now. Again, these just opened up, but the one thing that I would say is that they already have a severe icing problem, and there are no signs up right now saying this is only for electric vehicles while charging. And until those signs go up, and I think they need to be really big and really prominent, people are going to park here. All right, so we let that charge go up to 70%. So we have about 135 miles to go to the charger that I sort of targeted. We only have 138 miles of average estimated range, but I think that's based on this 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So this might be a stretch to get to the next charging stop, but we have plenty of locations in between. So we're stopping this charge a little bit below 50%, and the reason for that is it's only about 60 miles to get to Dunnigan to the Electrify America charger. It's not only a faster charger, it's also cheaper with the Electrify America plan. So it's just much better overall for us to use. All right, so we actually had a little bit of trouble hooking up. One of the chargers is down. I was also talking with a fellow Bolt EV owner over there, so shout out to you, Michael, if you watch the channel. So he's on his way out now. I'm gonna send them a message to maybe reboot the charger number 3. I'm gonna report it through the app so that I can save myself a phone call. Actually, I think we're just gonna go ahead and check out now and end the charge session. So I think we have plenty of juice to make it. We've been here for 20 minutes and it's gonna take us at least an hour. So it looks like it is gonna be about 11 hours even to make this trip, which is less than 50 mile an hour average trip speed, including charging. It's about 45 miles per hour. And that's, I think, what it cost you by starting at 50% battery. Essentially 30 minutes to an hour extra that we spent between finding a charger and the time spent charging up for the difference between 50% and a full battery. All right, well, now it's time for the return trip. And this time, though, instead of starting out with 50% battery, we're going to start out with 100% battery. I have at least one other thing working in my advantage, though, for this trip back. We're up about 1,500 feet now, and we'll be ending the trip at sea level as opposed to about 1,000 to 1,500 foot net elevation increase on the trip out. And then the other factor that I don't really know about either way is wind, whether we're going to have a headwind like we had on the trip up here, or if we're going to have a tailwind. That I'll have to determine as we're driving. I haven't really paid much attention to it. But in this 500-mile leg of the trip, I think you're going to see a significantly faster trip speed. And it's primarily due to having an additional 50% of your battery available at the beginning of the trip. All right, well, we're past the step down right now. We're charging at, a little over 105 amps plus whatever it's drawing for the battery conditioning and air conditioning right now. It's only 95 degrees, so not too hot. I did get another one of those errors with the Electrify America charger where it randomly shut off. For whatever reason, I didn't have cell phone service in the store, so I actually didn't get notified by the app until I started walking out. But it looks like I missed maybe a total of 5 minutes of charging time between the time it took me to get to the charger and restart it after it had stopped. So again, I don't know if this is a recurring issue. Some other Bolt EV owners have been having this problem as well. And it only seems to happen when it's hot. I don't know whether it's with the Bolt EV or with the chargers or with the temperature or whatnot, but we'll have to see. It seems to always happen right around the step down from the 150 amps down to 105 amps. So maybe that's something that they can look into and figure out what's going on. All right, well, that cost me a little bit of time. I did just a quick flyby here to look at the Electrify America site that's going to be coming online soon. We have another 35 minutes to go before we get to the Coalinga charge point chargers. But yeah, 4 nice Signet units, and hopefully they go online soon. All right, so that was a pretty good dinner stop, but we stayed maybe a little bit longer than we needed to. Again, it looks like it's another maybe 45 to 50-minute stop, but I'm gonna go ahead and head out now. And our next stop, Bakersfield EV Go chargers. That's what helps me get up and over the Tehachapi's, and that should be it for the night. They were both occupied when I was eating dinner, but hopefully they aren't constantly occupied between now and when I get there. It's a little over 100 miles to get there, so we should be there by about 9 o'clock. All right, so we're in an interesting situation here because, I got to Bakersfield to the EV Go charger, and, everything about this trip has been whittling away time, but we still made it here in, just under 8 hours to go about 380 miles. So we're a little less than the 50-mile-per-hour average trip speed, but with all the detours and all the delays and everything like that, that we're sort of whittling away time, that sort of makes sense. However, there's a fire on the Grapevine, apparently. And even if it's not that dangerous for traffic, it's still causing a significant delay to the point where it's actually 15 minutes faster to take the back route in over Highway 33, the Maricopa Highway. So that's a longer route on slower roads, yet it's still going to be faster than taking Interstate 5. And really, I don't want to be sitting around on Interstate 5 and, completely stop and go traffic. So I'll probably take the back route anyway. I had a feeling that it was going to be faster, and it turns out that it is. But in order for me to feel comfortable taking that route, I'm really going to want to charge up to about 70% to give me enough that I feel comfortable making it over a 6,000-foot summit, and taking the back route with really no services or anything else to sort of back me up along the way. Yeah, it's a longer route, but it's a faster route, and it's a nicer route. It's just unfortunate that I'm going to be driving it at night when I can't really enjoy any of the views. All right, well, while I charge up enough to feel comfortable driving into work tomorrow morning, I figured I'd do a bit of a recap on the trip. This trip still ended up taking 11 hours, which was much longer than I wanted it to take, but it kind of goes to show you what will happen when sort of everything goes wrong. We were on track to make this about a 10-hour trip when there was a fire on the Grapevine. And I seem to recall way back at the beginning of this video, when we were about to leave with only 50% battery to make the first 500-mile leg north, that you have to be flexible. And I maintain that for electric vehicles right now, you can't be rigid in your thinking. You can't be stuck in the way you want things to be, right? You have to sort of go with the flow and accept circumstances, accept the variance in your efficiency. So I hope this video was educational and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and thank you for watching.